Get my magic phrase. Okay, we have begun. So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining the Dress for Success Lunch and Learn today. My name is Chris. I'm the program manager for Dress, and today's topic would be about lead without the title. And this will be shared with Kimberly Sanders. So, let me tell you a little bit about Kimberly Sanders, which I know her as Kim. So if you hear me just break down,
Yeah.
it's just going to be Kim. Okay. Um, Kim is the Director of Community Outreach and Patient Navigation at Taussig Cancer Institute. Together with her team of patient navigators and program managers, Kim aims to educate, influence, and support underserved families in our community. Kim is a committed and passionate leader with 20 years of experience in community outreach and patient navigation. Prior to joining Taussig, she was a center director for Northeast Ohio Neighborhood Health Services Incorporated, where she provided direct assistance to the chief operating officer in the capacity of administration and oversight of several community health centers. Kim holds a Master's of Public Administration degree from Cleveland State University and a Bachelor of Science degree in Healthcare Administration from the University of Cincinnati. She is an active advisory board member of the Susan G. Komen and board president for Jordan Community Resource Center. So let's all give a warm welcome to Kim Sanders.
Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Did you want me to pull up the deck now, or did you want to speak a little?
Um, so I can speak a little.
Mhm.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. So Chris, I don't know how Chris got me into this, but I'm not the greatest speaker,
Don't share my secrets.
um, but I am happy to share, definitely. So I'll give you a little story. Chris called me and said, "Okay, Kim, you got to give me your topic because I got to get this moving." And I had just finished speaking to one of my staff members about this. And so I said, "Hey, that's going to be our topic because it is extremely important and it's an integral part of everyone's day-to-day work activity and outside of work with your church, with your family." And so I said, you know what, I think this would be a good topic. And Chris okayed it and approved it. So I said, we're going to move forward with it. So I'm excited to share.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
excited to share.
Let me get this open for you.
Okay.
All
I must
right.
say that we're going to be interactive, engaging. It's not just going to be about me, but I want it to be about all of us to
Oh,
discuss this topic.
it did that switch thing. Give me a second. I knew
Oh,
that was going to
okay.
probably happen. Uh, we want.
Um,
Let me get out of here.
slideshow. Okay.
No, I just need to switch my screen. Just give me
Okay.
just a moment.
Oh, and I know computer does what it wants to when it
Hmm.
wants to.
All the time. Let's see. Let me go like this, and then let me pause this. All right. Let's see if this is gonna do it.
Okay. Will it let you do slideshow?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to. It keeps moving to my
Oh,
other screen.
oh, it's no biggie. We're
No,
family here.
I'm a figure it out. You want me to start right here and then?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
So as I said today, thank you guys first of all for being here, and I just wanted to share a little bit with you all about how to lead without the title. And when I say without the title, you're not a CEO, or you're not the CEO, or you're not managing a department or individuals. Um, okay, you could go to the next one, Chris. So, what is leadership? Leadership is an essential component of any organization. Successful leaders can inspire and motivate their teams, create a positive company environment, and definitely drive innovation and growth to your organization. Okay. We'll let you go to the next one.
Yeah, it went to page 3.
Nope, it didn't on our screen.
No? Oh, okay.
Oh, nope, it did. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I wanted to continue talking about leadership.
Yeah.
But leadership is not limited to those with formal titles or positions. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Some of the most impactful leaders are those who possess the ability to encourage and guide others, even if they don't hold an official leadership role. Okay. So, what does it mean to lead without a title? Okay. So it means to have the ability to influence others. And I'm pretty sure everyone on this call probably has the ability to influence others. And as I said, I want us to look at this as not just an organization or your job, but outside your job. That means at home, that means at church. So there's many places that you can lead without the title. You can create a positive change within your organization. Be present, kind, and thoughtful. Display patience, definitely to be someone to lead others and to gain the trust of others. You must be someone that's patient and willing to listen. Be responsive. And so that means to actually listen and respond to what questions you're being asked or how you may be able to help someone else. Okay, Chris. Follow the leader. Qualities and characteristics of a leader who people would follow. Someone who has earned respect and trust in their peers through their day to day actions. And so, as you all know, we go through work and church and other organizations or what have you, um, and people are watching you. People are watching you all the time. And this is how people gain respect and trust because they see your actions, they see what you're doing, they see what you're doing without being asked to do it. They see that you have your heart in it. And that's how you gain the trust of other people and your peers. It's your attitude. Always having a great attitude about your work and what you're doing. People won't tend to listen to someone that complains a lot or always brings to the table the problem and not the solution. Communication style. Your communication style is very important. How you communicate with others in a caring fashion. You communicate in a way that others clearly understand your communication and willing and ready to communicate back with you. Adapt to changing circumstances. This is a big one because circumstances are continuing to change. I mean, just think of COVID, and how things change instantly. Like we're on this call right now, we probably would be in person if it wasn't for COVID. And so things change. And someone that has a leading characteristic is someone that is a change agent, that you work with the change and you're not that person that goes over to the side and you complain about the change. No, but you work with your staff and you come up with ideas of how we're going to cope with this change and how we'll work through it. Collaborate with others, always working with other people. You have to be willing to have partners because none of us can do it alone. And motivate the team to reach the goal. I never want anyone to think that only um, the manager is responsible for those goals. As a team, you're responsible for those goals. And sometimes it always takes one person to sort of stand up and push the rest of the team along the way. That's someone that's leading without the title.
Mhm.
So, right here, I wanted us to talk a little bit about if you guys could give me any examples of someone you may know personally that has led without the title, or even someone professionally or someone famous that you felt like led without the title. I can start it off. So
Okay.
some of the people I thought of was Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks became a great leader. Why? Because she stood up and people respected what Rosa Parks did. She was someone that people were willing to follow. They trusted Rosa Parks along with Martin Luther King. These are people that didn't necessarily have the title of the CEO or the COO or the president. No, but they were respected people that people wanted to follow. People would trust. They did not hesitate to follow Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King. Anyone have any other ideas?
I want to say Stephanie Tubbs Jones.
Excellent. Excellent. Stephanie
Hmm.
Tubbs Jones was an excellent one.
Why would you mention her, Heather? What was some things that you noticed that she did just out of curiosity?
She was a great community leader, and then with her passing, her legacy just went on after that. You see a lot of like major buildings and monuments named after her, Cleveland Clinic, through RTA. So she just had a very impactful community lead within the community of Cleveland that she was still looked as being very impactful, even though she's no longer with us.
Yeah,
That's a good
great
point.
example.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone
Anybody?
else?
I was gonna say, this may well, no, it would still be in that regard. I would say, Michelle Obama.
Yeah,
That
definitely.
she
It
never,
wasn't a
besides being the title of first lady,
yeah.
but how influential was she, with a lot of different things, whether they were in the White House or outside, um, the White
Chris, I think
House.
that's a great point because even after, I mean, I still will follow Michelle Obama any day,
Yeah.
and she's not the first lady any longer. So I think that's a great one. That's a good point. One
Mhm.
of the other ones I thought about was Malcolm X. I mean, people trusted and followed and respected Malcolm X,
Mhm.
for the work that he did. And he did not have the title, this, big title of, some type of great leader, but it was the work that he did and people trusting and respecting Malcolm X.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Any more? All right, great. Thank you. Okay. How to develop those characteristics of a leader without the title. So, first of all, you want to self reflect, self awareness. Know who you are, be positive in what you are sharing with others. And so you have to self reflect there and really think about what you share with others. Active listening and empathy. Okay, so it's very important that as someone to lead without the title, you're willing to listen to others, listen to their problems, listen to their issues, and definitely have empathy for them and be willing to help them wherever they may be and help them to hopefully change for the better. Communication and public speaking. That's a big one. As my example was Martin Luther King. He was a great communicator in public speaking. And so there are classes, and I'm sure Chris can help you with classes that you can take to support your expertise in public speaking. Learning to lead by example. That's a big one. That's a real big one. Learning to lead by example. And so here I'm just talking about um, you can't ask others to do something that you're not doing. So it's extremely important that you carry yourself in a way that you expect others to carry themselves. So you can't be the one that continues to take problems to the manager or the supervisor. They want to see you be the one to bring solutions to the table. So definitely you want to lead by example and developing a growth mindset. Someone that is leading without the title, you're always thinking about growth. How can we do better? How can the organization grow? How can my church grow? How can my family grow? So you're always thinking about ways and opportunities to bring growth to other people.
So I wanted to pause right there,
Hmm.
Kim, because you said a lot in there, and so for some, um, you may be wondering, why would this be a topic? Sometimes, and it may be you here on the call, you may have naturally took on the role of being a leader in your organization or in your group. You didn't even know it, but you may start taking on different kind of responsibilities. You take a lot of initiative, and people recognize that. Um, the other reason why we're talking about this, and I think Kim, you and I, we kind of talked about it too,
Hmm.
particularly with after the pandemic, and a lot of people are returning back to actually in the workspace.
Yes.
And so sometimes there's a shortage of people or a shortage of people that have certain type of skill sets. So then organizations start leading on certain individuals who are that have these type of characteristics, right? They're
Hmm.
able to make a decision. They have a care for what's the end result. They listen to people. They're like a really good coach. But what you don't know is that it could be an opportunity for you to get another type of position by already exhibiting the characteristics of a leader without the
Yes.
title, right? So, those are some things as we kind of continue to kind of go through as you start thinking about individuals that are in your immediate circle
Hmm.
or even outside your circle, like you said, even if it's like the more famous ones. But it's how do you use that as career leverage too
Yeah.
later on? So because you can be building up your skill set without even the title if you're ready to go on to the next role.
Yeah.
So
Now,
sorry, I just
I
wanted
think
to kind of
that's
jump in with
no,
that.
no. That was great, Chris, and that's exactly what I want us to do is to talk about it. And what I'll do is share. I have a staff member, so I am a leader, but I haven't always been a leader, and so I'm a director. But I have a staff member who became my assistant director. But she was the assistant director, but I had program managers that still fell immediately under me. So she wasn't quote unquote their supervisor or their manager. So when things didn't go well for her, the first thing she said is, "Well, I don't manage them." And I just had to let her know that's irrelevant because people will follow you without hesitation. They won't even think about it. Well, she's not my boss. But if you give off an air that well, I'm not your leader, but if I was, I would have you do this, this, and this. That's you're going down the wrong road. And so Chris just made a great point. I just don't want anyone to think to gain respect to gain people to follow you without hesitation does not in any way mean that you have to be quote unquote the manager or the supervisor or some people say the boss.
Hmm.
Okay, and so I thank you for Chris. Thank you for that, Chris. Great point. And so, how do you develop these characteristics that we're talking about to lead without the title? Oh, I'm sorry. We went over this, didn't we? Learn that. Yeah, thank you. Um, so, what are the benefits? What are the benefits of being a leader without the title? Building trust and respect among your colleagues. You can never go wrong when your colleagues respect you, when your church members respect you, when your family members respect you. That's one of the ways you definitely build leadership without having the title. Being seen as a team player. You never want to be seen as the person that sits on the side that points to everyone else and tells everyone else to do. That's not being a leader. A leader is someone that jumps in there and can pull up their sleeves and work with you. That's how you gain respect. Increasing opportunities for growth and advancement. And I spoke about this a little bit earlier, but growth. Always looking at how we can do better. How can the organization do better? What can I bring to the table? What can I share with my colleagues to bring to the table for advancement for the organization? I can say this, you shouldn't be working for an organization that you don't want to see them grow, that you don't want to see them advance. So you're always looking and thinking about ways that the organization can advance and making a positive impact on your organization. Same thing here. Always being positive about the company that you work for. Always speaking positive about the organization you work for. One of the things that will lose a person can lose disrespect so quickly is when you're a downer. When you're out in the community and you talk about the organization you work for, oh, those people get on my nerves and they're never doing this right and they're never doing that right now, because the first thing that other person is thinking, well, what are you doing? What are you doing? So be very cautious of, putting your organization down that you work for. Okay, Chris. Now, of course, with everything that there's benefits, there's always challenges too, of being a leader without a title. So overcoming the imposter syndrome. And so this was a new term. I was researching this and came up with this term, overcoming imposter syndrome, which sometimes you may feel like you're continuing to play this role, but you'll never be in that role. And I think Chris hit it on the head when she said, look at it as you working towards being a director. Because one thing I'm not trying to communicate here today is that you don't want to be a director, you don't want to be a manager. That's great if that's what you choose. Everyone doesn't want to lead, but if you choose to be in that position, this is definitely a way to help you get there, to help you become a leader. Dealing with resistance from those who hold the formal title. So, that can happen too, because you're a supervisor or your manager may feel kind of like, okay, they're doing too much. They're doing the most. And so I just gonna say it like this. I mean, you have to be cautious and respectful. You're not trying to take over the business or take over the role of the director. So you always want to make sure that you communicate with the director, and keep it positive. Not in a way that you're trying to take anyone else's role, but you're trying to just step up and support your leader. Balancing leadership with following and collaborating with others. And so, of course, this goes right back to you have to balance leadership. And you have to be cautious and make sure that it is a balancing act. And I said earlier how you have to pull up your sleeves. And so being a leader means joining in with your colleagues and doing whatever they're doing at the same time, knowing, collaborating with others too, collaborating and building partnerships. All this helps with you being a leader without the title. Any questions there? No. Okay, Chris. So some of the final takeaways, and I definitely want us to, discuss this more, but we talked about example, and I just think that's really, really important. And that's something that I've always tried to do in any of my leadership roles. And before I became a leader, was to lead by example. And so these are some things that I remember going through my career. Chris told you that I used to work for Neon, a community health center. So I didn't start out as a director there. I was like a program manager and I worked on a grant. Well, everyone pretty much dressed pretty casual. Well, I was a suit girl, so I always wore suits every day. And so someone asked me one day, and it wasn't I had a different suit every day. I just switched it up, changed the pants with the jacket and a different shirt, but it made me feel good inside. And so someone asked me one day, why do you dress like that every day? And I told them, it makes me feel good and I'm positioning myself. I'm positioning myself for that future role. And there's nothing wrong with it. And we're like, okay, that makes sense. So I would try to lead right there by example, build relationships. And I know everyone on this call knows relationships are just an integral part of your success, the success of the organization, your family success, the church success is building relationships. When you build a relationship, you build trust. People don't hesitate to follow you if you've built trust with them. They say, "Oh, okay, that's what Kim said. Well, I'm going to go with it." So, like Chris said with Michelle Obama. Oh, Michelle Obama said that. Okay, I'm going to do it too. So you build those relationships. Um, be solution oriented, and we talked about this a little earlier. The last thing you want to do to lead without the title is to be one that brings problems. There's always going to be problems. The problems will not stop coming. But how do you react to those problems? How do you deal with them? How do you go about building a solution? You always want to, before you, don't be one of the ones in the, I just muted myself. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
yes, yes.
You don't want to be the one in the group that gets in with everyone else and you say, "Oh, yes, this is just terrible. And now look what they're doing." No, you be that one in the group that said, "But you know what, guys? What if we tried this? Or what if we looked at it this way?" And I know it may sound a little corny, but it's real. And it really does work. It really does work because the rest of the team will start looking and listening to you and saying, okay, well that's worth thinking about. And I'm that person. I'm not that person that gets with the group and say, "Oh, this is a terrible place to work," and, "Well, why are they making us do this?" But I always try to think of the goodness out of it and what we can do to um, adjust to the changes that may come across, which leads me right into being an advocate for change, because change will continue to come. And how we deal with it and react to that change is vital to the success of our organization and your personal success. Because if you can't deal with change, and you want to be a leader and not have that title, you can't do it. You have to be one that can adjust to change. You want to go back up to lead by example. You want to show people how you react to that change. You want people to see that, oh, wow, okay, so she handled that pretty well. For me at Cleveland Clinic, wow, when COVID came along, it was a huge change. And most of my friends, they were working from home. Well, I work for Cleveland Clinic, and there was no working from home. We had to go in more because I work for the cancer center. And so it was an integral part of our day-to-day activity to keep our patients safe and keep the patients well, especially going through cancer and chemo care. So instead of us not going in or coming in later, we had to go in earlier. And so we had to be at work at 6 o'clock. And I went from being a director to a person at the table taking temperatures. But I led by example there because my entire team had to follow that. And so my team didn't say, "Well, why is she sitting over there in the background?" No, I was there at 6 o'clock and I was checking temperatures as well and passing out masks. Just an example of how you lead by example, and you have to be an advocate for change because change will continue to come. Mentor others, help others along the way. Be that person that others come to ask for advice, or ask, "Hey, can how can you help me with this?" or whatever it may be. But be a mentor, and if someone brings something to you that you may not have the answer, help them find the answer. And communicate effectively. Be transparent. Be clear in your communication. Um, and I know sometimes it may be a little tough to be transparent because you don't want to hurt someone's feelings, or you don't want to give away certain information or what have you. But it is very important that people trust you. It goes back to trust and building relationships. And people trust transparency. When they feel like you're hiding something from them or you're keeping a secret, that's when you lose the trust and you won't have people follow you. So it's very, very important that you communicate effectively. I think that's it for me,
Yes.
Chris.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna open it up to bring up our screen here with everyone. And so someone chatted. I missed the chat.
Mhm.
Bring the positive. I like that, Lisa. Bring the positive, right?
That's
Be a
right.
positive change agent. So, what I wanted to kind of ask um, the women, I know we kind of talked about who are some people who you think are leaders without the title. So, kind of after hearing what Kim has said, have you had a vision of some other individuals that you think are leaders, but they don't have the title at all? And maybe it's yourself. Okay.
Right.
Um, can you share that? So I'm just want to open that up for you all to share. Oh, but someone said put Kim's email in the chat. So
Oh, okay.
all right, we'll get that in there. So Lacey, any thoughts after you heard some of the characteristics? Have you thought more about who would be a leader without the title, or what kind of characteristics they had? We can't hear
Oh,
you. You're
it's
on mute.
on mute.
Uh-huh. There you go.
Um, okay, this one, the first one that popped into my head, he is from Cleveland, but he kind of has a title. But Steve Harvey, I listen to him
Okay.
every day. His affirmations, I'm in recovery, so they like saved my life, but he's done so much for the city,
Mhm.
and I mean, he's just raised a bunch of funds, given to a lot of people.
Mhm.
He's a natural born leader, and it shows.
Yeah. Lacey, that's great. That's great because you're absolutely right. Because Steve Harvey has a title as a comedian, but he took it beyond that. He took it way beyond that because he shared what he's been through to help others. And people have built trust and faith in him. And like you said, you listen to him every day. I listen to him a lot too. And so I think that's a great example. Steve Harvey.
Yeah, really great.
Great.
Thank you for sharing that, Lacey. And so let's see. We have Sharon. Had you thought about anyone that comes to mind? And Sharon, if you're talking, you're on mute.
Mhm.
No, but I'm walking and the wind is
Okay.
high. So
Okay. Okay. You want us to come back to you?
uh got a ways to get back to the building. So
Okay. Okay. All right.
Well, I'm just going to say, since Sharon is walking, Sharon is actually my friend.
Okay.
And, and I'm going to say this about Sharon. She is that person. She's a person that we worked together for many, many years. And since she can't say, Kim, be quiet, I'm going to go ahead and say this. But she is a natural born leader. And she led me and many others. I've watched her lead people. And Sharon, as long as I've known her, I haven't known her to have the title of director or executive or what have you. But she'll tell you, I call her all the time when I have a question, and she'll say, I know you know the answer, but I respect you calling me to ask me first. So she's a person that, and I know I'm not the only one that calls Sharon to ask questions, to get support from her. Now Sharon does counseling, spiritual counseling, and people look to her and they trust her. So I'm going to say she's a person that I know is a leader without the title. She can keep walking, but
That's a great example, right? And I think you kind of mentioned that a lot of times these individuals they seem to be what we would call well grounded, right?
yes,
They don't high necessarily they don't fly high above the clouds, but their feet are on the ground and they keep things realistic and they are open to share what those
yes,
things
open to
are
share.
too.
Yeah.
Open to share. So how about Lisa?
I was thinking of a few coworkers, so their
Yeah.
names won't be that important in this discussion. But
Uh-huh.
I think some of the characteristics, as you mentioned, are good, but also I would add approachable and
Mhm.
empathetic because
Yes.
they've got to have some empathy of what you're going through. Maybe they didn't have your job before, maybe they did, but having that empathy to understand and hear, that listening, two ears and one mouth for a reason.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites right there. Yeah, good
Yeah.
listener.
I have to tell
Um,
myself that a lot, actually.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep, yep. Being a good listener is definitely a good trait, and it's a great trait for great leaders. Because some people can have the title and they're not good listeners. You can probably think of some people that are
Yeah.
like that. But being a good listener is a great trait. Thank you for sharing that, Lisa. Anything, Kim, you wanted to add?
No, I just want to add, I want to make sure that everyone understands this presentation was not to say, okay, you're never going to be a leader, so this is where you are, so work with what you have. But it's to say in that process, and like I said, everyone, their goal is not to be the executive director. Their goal is not to be the vice president or the president of a company. Some people, that's what they live for. Some people are more comfortable being at a level where they can support and help each other on a different level. And so, but part of that imposter syndrome is feeling like you're not enough or you could never reach that role. So you're going to stay within this place. I just want to make sure that we all understand that is not the intent at all. If that's where you want to be, but if you want to move beyond that, you definitely can. And part of leading without the title will definitely help you to get that level.
Great points. And then Heather, we don't want to leave you out. Any thoughts of any individuals or characteristics?
Like I had said earlier, just Stephanie Tubbs Jones, the impact she left on the community.
Yeah,
Um, she just, left a very huge impact, like I said before. That's about it.
that's good.
All right, thank you. Well, and then to go back to the other thought for those who may have an interest in taking a leadership role, right? It's how do you take those skills or those things that you're doing to add it to the skills of your resume or your application, right? If you are a mentor, say that you are a mentor to some of your
Yes.
peers and your colleagues or to new individuals who are coming into your work organization, or even if it's a community organization or church, sometimes there's just people who are great at showing other people examples of things. So put that down. If you're someone who influences budget, or if you're someone who, note takes at a meeting, don't undermine the skills that you're getting from being that leader without the title. Because if you want to go on to the next level, still jot down those skills of things that you're doing. And then maybe even leverage some of those folks to help you with a reference if you need it, right, Kim? So it's
That's
like
smart, Chris.
if you want like someone to represent you, that's like, oh, this person is great for this position, or
Yeah.
someone may speak about you when you're not even in the room. Of course, when you're
Mhm.
not in the room, you want them to speak positively about you, right? But
Yes.
if you've been consistent with your personality, your characteristic, your behavior, you've been a contributor and things like that, they'll speak about you when you're not in a room, and you may even have an opportunity you never even knew about, or something that may not have been created till after the fact based
That's
off of what you do. So there's definitely, I think you had that one page came about the positive results, right? So it's like there's a lot of
yes.
positive, and then let's just say for your own mind's sake, right? We have enough life stress, so be the positive change. I think that was one of the
Mhm.
things that came in, bring the positive, and people will respect that for you in whatever organization, because everybody's going to have some hard times. And like you said, it's not if change comes, it's when it comes, and how do
Yes.
you deal with it?
I think that's a great point, Chris. Our accomplishments. And so don't belittle the accomplishments you have made along the way at all. Lacey is spoke about what she's been through and the accomplishments. Don't neglect that at all. That means so much. And you have the opportunity to help so many other
Hmm.
people. And so always keeping that at the forefront means so much.
Hmm.
Definitely.
Absolutely. So, well, I think we've had a pretty good conversation today. And then whether we are thinking about ourselves, thinking about people who we interact with. So this was definitely good. I even had like another thought too when you mentioned about family, Kim, because some of
Mhm.
you all, or maybe you may be the one who's like that natural
Mhm.
leader in the family. You're the one to
Yes.
decide where the family's gonna be for the holiday, or who's
Yeah.
who's going to do certain things, right? A lot of times, how do you lead really starts at home, right? And
That's yeah.
then sometimes, as you have children and you may see like who's, because sometimes it's not always the oldest one. Sometimes
Right.
the oldest one is, someone who naturally gets in that role, but later on, maybe it's not them, it's somebody else who takes on
Yeah.
that role. So you could see the dynamics of leadership. It's not just about being at work, right?
No. No.
So
That's
this was
great.
good.
And I think any good leader, I think if you're in a leadership role though, it's so important that you want to help others. And you want to bring others
Mhm,
up. I don't have much respect for someone that's in a leadership role and they don't try to bring others with them.
mhm,
To me, in management, it means you want others to grow. You want to bring others up. And so, even without the title, you want to do that as well. And I
mhm.
spoke a little bit about, supporting others and being that support or mentor to others is very important to the success of leading without a title.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna open up the floor to see if there's any other questions or thoughts before we wrap up on this nice sunny day that we have.
I know it's beautiful. I thought I saw something in the chat, did I?
Let's see.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's Lisa. I just wrote something about allyship because you're talking about
oh
the mentors and things
yes.
like that.
Yep, allies are your best asset as a mentor and promoter for your career and personal development. Absolutely.
Yes, that's good.
Your allies
Definitely.
can help bring your, like you were mentioning, bringing your name to the room. And
Hmm.
if they
Mhm.
know your, what you think you're good at, what you think you can add value to, maybe even asking them, where do you think I'm, really shining, and
Hmm.
letting them know what you aspire to, even if it's not in this very next step, but maybe it's a couple steps away, but you need to get more experience. So maybe they'll bring you to something that gives you that experience. So letting a few people know, your people manager maybe is a good starting place if they're, open, but also
Hmm.
other people. I've got a couple people that are, I call my unofficial mentors, that
Hmm.
we never really had a formal conversation about it, but they are definitely my go-to, and I can be very honest with my feelings and my intentions, and they provide me, sometimes they say, the answer, like you said, Chris, the answer, or somebody said it, I can't remember, maybe
Kim
Kim
said
said it,
that. Uh-huh.
the answer, why are you asking me, but thanks for asking me. It's sometimes it's that, but sometimes just saying it out loud is that what you need to do. And so having that ally in the room on your
Hmm.
side, your
That's
cheerleader.
good.
Yeah. So that brings me to one of the things you just, thanks for bringing that up, Lisa. So actually, this week on Thursday, this Thursday evening at 6 o'clock. So we have a workshop and we're
Mhm.
calling it mentorship versus sponsorship. And
Mhm.
because there is a difference, right, of who is a
Mhm.
mentor versus who your sponsor is. And a lot of times, the sponsor is able to have a lot more influence in those rooms, right, when there's the ability to make a change or impact. So we're going to talk about that this Thursday at 6 o'clock. And so there's still time to go ahead and register for that. And actually, our speaker, she had mentioned, we talked a little bit about mentorship and how you need to have your board, right? You need to have,
Mhm.
just like any organization, you have your own board because you're your own entity. right? So you
Right.
may have, a mentor that helps you with finances. A mentor will help you with something maybe at work. A mentor that may help you with your spiritual or whatever the case may be. It's your board to help you out. And
Mhm.
so sometimes those could be those individuals who are leaders without a title, but they understand how the organization may work. They might have done a lot of different type of roles, right? So they could be like,
Mhm.
oh yes, I've had that role before. So this is what you want to think about. So, make sure to drop in if you're able to join us on Thursday. We'll go a little bit more into that topic for sure. But this is definitely a great um, topic. And, we're all on this call, we're all leaders because we led ourselves to have this conversation, right? To think about
That's
it.
right.
And so it's not just talking about, somebody else, it's how do you reflect on yourself,
Yeah,
for the leadership.
that's it.
So,
That's it.
well, awesome. Well, this has been, like I said, a really great topic. Thanks, Kim, for letting me drag you into this
Welcome.
conversation
It was fun. It,
and doing
it
it
really
really
was. And I learned a lot too. I learned a lot too.
good, good, good,
Yeah.
good. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, everyone. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll look forward to seeing you very soon.
Thank you
Thank
guys.
you, and
Take
thanks for
care.
sharing.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Thank
and
you.
Chris, make
Oh,
sure
yes.
if someone
Oh, the
wanted my
email.
email, you're very welcome to send me an email. Did you put it in the chat?
I did not. Let me, what is it?
Powerful, powerful,
Mhm.
POWERFUL, Delta, DELTA, 0811 at
Oh,
gmail.com.
0811.
Yes, at
Mm-hmm.
gmail.com. Hey guys, don't hesitate to reach out. Um, anything you need, that I can help you with, I surely will, or lead you in the right direction.
All right.
So
Same
much.
here. Take care,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.